A deadly combination, heat and humidity. As Americans look for relief, water supplies in many parts of the country are evaporating. The government does a U-turn on a gasoline additive that was supposed to help the environment. And we'll take you to a dark corner of the world to meet the children the world forgot.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm John Roberts. And the heat goes on. No real break today in the sweltering, soggy heat wave smothering the eastern half of the United States. Scorching temperatures and high humidity have been a deadly combination for more than 30 people. And there is no relief on the horizon. On tonight's CBS Weather Watch, Jim Axelrod reports on how Americans are trying to cope with weather that kills.
Hard to tell from looking at her, but this woman is one of the lucky ones in St. Louis.
Now, you cooling off, Annie?
Overcome by the heat, she got plenty of help.
This is definitely heat related, so we've tried to cool her off. I'm going to start IV on her, get some fluids going on her, and get her to the hospital.
In St. Louis, it seems like even the arch is sweating. 12 straight days in the 90s and counting. The death toll is now at 7.
One temperature was as high as 114 degrees Fahrenheit. And the others are at least 104 degrees Fahrenheit that we have decided were heat-related deaths.
Even with a slight dip in the temperature today, Interstate 44 is no place to be. The heat is tough on the road workers and even tougher on the roads.
It'll actually hump up, and actually the concrete will completely pop out.
The concrete pops up?
Yes.
Like a foot?
Just really depends. Sometimes it'll completely blow out if it has got nowhere else to go. It'll blow out as if there's explosives underneath. At 114.
In Kansas City, the heat index was 100 at 8 a.m. The gardens are baking, the gardeners are sweating, and football practice is starting early.
Try to beat the heat a little bit, but it ain't working real.
Across the country, it's an upside-down world of weather. Dallas, usually scorching for months by now, just issued its first heat advisory, while in Buffalo, 200 maple trees have burned to death.
But it's the Midwest where the heat continues to be at its deadliest. Nationally, 33 people are now known dead from the heat in the last week. All but 2 were from Ohio, Illinois, or Missouri. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, St. Louis.
Big wildfires continue to rage tonight in 4 bone-dry western states, with the biggest burning in Montana. Aircraft and hundreds of firefighters are battling that one. It has already destroyed 33,000 acres of grassland near the ranching community of Musselshell, Montana. With each rainless day, the heat wave drags on. Drought conditions in many states are only worsening. The darker red on this climate map, the worse the problem, and you can clearly see that the middle Atlantic states have the worst of all. Water for lawns is one thing, but now drinking water is becoming a worry, as CBS's Elizabeth Caledon reports.
The once lush green lawns surrounding some of the nation's most famous monuments are turning browner by the day, the most visible sign that the long spell of dry skies and scorching temperatures is getting serious.
This is probably one of the top 3 droughts that we've had since the early part of the century.
A large area is affected. The driest spots are Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and reservoirs throughout the Northeast are running low. This grass is pretty much bone dry.
It's very dry. It's gone dormant. The ground is like concrete.
Officials in Rockland County, New York, just north of New York City, are facing a crisis.
Last time we had a good rainfall was in March.
Lawn watering and car washing have been banned because this community relies on groundwater alone, and wells fed by the local river are running dry. Normally, at this time of year, the Ramapo River would be gushing over these rocks. But nearly 4 months without significant rain means this river has become nothing more than a stream.
The river is down to 2 or 3 million gallons a day, and in other years in the summertime it would run 10 to 20 million gallons a day, and in the middle of a heavy rain in the spring it may be 250 million gallons a day.
Meteorologists predict the next 5 to 10 days will bring more showers and thunderstorms, but ironically they add the only thing that can right this wrong is another potential natural disaster, a tropical storm or the remnants of a hurricane. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, Rockland County, New York.
Some stubborn side effects of the stubborn drought. Mosquitoes, which need rain to breed, are dwindling in number now, but the dry heat is driving carpenter ants into the cooler indoors of people's homes. And a Halloween alert because of the drought. Expect shrunken pumpkins this fall. Now about another environmental issue, this one controlled by man, not nature. As CBS's Sandra Hughes reports, the government has now decided that a gasoline additive designed to protect the environment may be doing more harm than good.
Today, the government admitted its attempts to clear the air in smog-filled urban areas like Los Angeles may have backfired. The fuel additive MTBE that worked so well to reduce smog levels actually ended up polluting the groundwater supply. Now, the Environmental Protection Agency is calling for a substantial reduction in the use of MTBE.
But we did find between 5 and 10% of the water supplies in areas that have been sampled showing some detection of MTBE in the water supply.
It contaminated more than half the Santa Monica water supply.
It's a little bit late for Santa Monica. We've been enduring this nightmare now for going on 4 years.
Once MTBE is released into the ground through small cracks in gas station or oil company pipes, it's so soluble that it's quickly absorbed into the groundwater supply. 16 states nationwide use the fuel additive, and one environmental group estimates it has contaminated 100,000 water sites. In New York, Mark Feldman actually had MTBE leaking into his home.
I would start picking up this gasoline-type odor right outside the front door of my house.
Producers warn to make fuel clean without MTBE, gasoline will cost more.
We will be forced to rely on imports. We'll be forced to rely on physical changes to refineries and distribution systems. This has only one result: higher gasoline prices at the pump.
Here in California, MTBE is already being phased out of gasoline. Many see today's EPA announcement as the first step toward a nationwide ban. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Possible disaster was averted today after a small cruise ship ran aground on a rock and began to take on water in Alaska's coastal inland passage. Coast Guard units and other ships rushed to the scene and rescued all 94 passengers on board the Spirit of 98. Helicopters dropped pumps to help crewmen control the flooding. The tourist ship was bound from Anchorage to Juneau. The shuttle Columbia crew is hoping for a smooth return to Earth late tonight in Florida. With astronauts Eileen Collins, the first woman mission commander, Columbia is to make only the 12th nighttime shuttle landing. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, new information tonight about the alleged Yosemite serial killer. Europeans rebel against genetically modified food, and a lost generation, and the woman who's trying to save them.
If you wear dentures, imagine how nervous teaching teenagers could make you feel. What if your dentures slipped? But thanks to the all-day hold of Super Polygrip, those days are over. I think that says a lot about the power of Polygrip.
Spray and Wash Advanced Stain Care penetrates faster than Shout and powers out those dirty sweat stains. So you can
let them go, let them play. Let them go with Spray and Wash.
Here they come. Surprise!
I made your old favorite pepperoni.
I can't eat that now.
Oh. This can't be Charlie.
I didn't take my Pepsid. I gotta wait.
Then we all wait.
Take my Tagamet. You could eat now.
Hey, Tagamet has a better way to avoid heartburn. Not before, not after, now. You can take Tagamet right when you're going to eat and still prevent heartburn.
Same old Charlie.
With Tagamet, you can eat like a kid again.
Out here, am I supposed to say, slow down, I'm constipated? I don't think so. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Next time, call a Roto-Rooter plumber. When we make an appointment, we keep it.
A motel handyman in California has begun to talk about his alleged life as a serial killer. 37-year-old Cary Stainer is quoted as saying he was unable to resist the urge to kill 4 women visitors to Yosemite National Park. CBS's John Blackstone is covering the case.
Around Yosemite National Park, a frightening picture is now emerging of a charming man who for years contemplated the brutal murder of women, and then, it's alleged, finally began to act. In communities near the park, Kerry Stainer was known as a nice guy. But in a jailhouse interview, he told a reporter he had fantasized about torture and killing for 30 years. It is a trait familiar to serial killers, says criminologist Mike Rustigan.
The rage was deep, it was intense, but he was able to fool a lot of people.
At the Cedar Lodge Motel, where he lived and worked, Stainer fooled many, including FBI investigators and news reporters.
You're right, but he was very nice. He was very polite, very sweet. He was very good looking.
Radio reporter Mary Ellen Geist was one of many who stayed at the motel during the search for 3 missing women this spring. It now appears that Stainer knew well that the 3 had been brutally murdered when he met Geist in the motel jacuzzi one night.
If you'd met him at a party, you'd think he was the most nice, normal guy. But something about that and how much he wanted to talk about his brother was strange to me.
Stainer's brother puts an unusual twist on this story. In 1980, Stephen Stainer became famous as the victim of a high-profile crime. He escaped from a child molester who'd held him captive for 7 years. His story became a TV movie. By confessing now, says criminologist Rustigan, Kerry Stainer may be trying to get the kind of attention once given to his brother.
I think we're looking at a nobody, so to speak, who has become a somebody.
In his jailhouse confession, Stainer showed some regret but little emotion, telling the reporter, "I wish I could have controlled myself." John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
The Justice Department has changed its position about John Hinckley Jr., the man who shot President Reagan back in 1981. A spokesman said today the department will no longer try to block Hinckley from taking supervised day trips from a mental hospital. A federal appeals panel approved the trips, and the Justice Department has now decided not to appeal the decision to the Supreme Court. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, the battle over genetically modified food in the fields and in the stores.
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus, and it's the only denture cleanser that could make your dream come true. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Getting those urban cowboys on horses was trying enough. And you throw in some serious chili, we're talking major heartburn. And we were way out there, and this cowboy, he pulls this Zantac 75 out of his saddlebag. I said, "What are you, a Zantac salesman?" He said, "No, I'm a doctor."
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Hats off to you, Doc.
Zantac 75 for tough heartburn. Doctors know.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Yoo-hoo! Does your daily shower cleaner disinfect? Ooh, guess that's a no. Get Lysol Daily Shower Cleaner, the only one that disinfects. Lysol Daily Shower Cleaner helps protect. You have our word on it.
My business runs on long hours and a leave. Look, I live by contractors' deadlines. I gotta keep working till the job's done. So when I'm in real pain, I can't settle for those pain relievers that quit too soon. Hey, I tried them. And a few hours later, I was right back in pain. Then I found Aleve. Just 2 Aleve are strong enough to work all day. I used to need 8 Tylenol to do that. There's a tool for every job. For tough pain, it's Aleve.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved a controversial new drug to fight the flu. It's called Relenza. Manufacturer GlaxoWellcome says inhaling it can inhibit the flu virus from spreading in the lungs and reduce the duration of flu symptoms. In an unusual move, the FDA approved the drug against the recommendation of an advisory panel which said Relenza produced little or no benefit. In an Eye on America series last week, CBS reported on genetically modified corn and other foods that have quietly entered the U.S. marketplace without any formal notice to the consumer. Tonight, Tom Fenton reports it's the same story but a different reaction in Britain, where genetically modified food has set off a consumer revolt.
You could never accuse the British of being gourmets, but if there's one thing they hate, it's having someone mess with their food.
I think that we were meant to eat food the way nature intended it to be.
So there was a public outcry when the British discovered what many Americans are just beginning to realize, that some of the food they eat has been genetically modified. The discovery followed a controversial British experiment that suggested rats fed with genetically modified potatoes developed abnormalities. In America, genetic engineering may be seen as progress, but in Britain it's considered sinister. Widespread public resistance has led to scenes like this, protesters destroying experimental crops.
We're taking action on behalf of the public because the government isn't listening.
It's easy to create food scares in Britain because there have been so many of them.
Like mad cow disease, isn't it? They want to shove it on us before they really know enough about the subject.
Mad cow disease was the most serious. People died and cows were slaughtered, despite initial assurances from the government that there was no problem. Now the government and industry are trying to explain the benefits of genetic modification, showing how science is attempting to increase crop yields, but the public isn't buying it. Supermarkets are emptying their shelves of GM foods. A growing number of European countries are imposing labeling requirements, and in some cases, outright bans on genetically modified foods from America. Millions of Europeans are demonstrating the power of consumer choice. They're standing up to their governments and the food industry and saying, no, we won't buy GM foods until we're satisfied they're safe. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Major League Baseball umpires reversed themselves today and gave up their plan to resign en masse in September. The Associated Press reports all of the umpires have now withdrawn their resignations, but about 25 may lose their jobs anyway. The American and National Leagues reportedly decided to accept their resignations and have already hired replacements. Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, life in the sewers of Romania. An American tries to help the orphans of a revolution.
Lively conversation every morning. Wrestling Sunday afternoons. Free boost right now. Just call 1-800-225-5192 for a free can of Vanilla Boost drink. Find out why more people prefer the taste of Vanilla Boost over the leading nutritional drink. Call 1-800-225-5192 right now. And make Boost a nutritional part of your complete life.
So, how you doing?
Oh, miserable.
What?
Breakfast time, we sit around while folks pop something sweet from the toaster.
Oh, yeah.
What's not to love? Real eggs.
Hey, bacon.
And cheese. Say, what if somebody wrapped us up in a pastry crust and popped us up?
Pillsbury Toaster Scrambles. Real eggs, smoky bacon, creamy cheese in a flaky pastry crust right in your grocer's freezer. Mmm. Pillsbury Toaster Scrambles.
Look out, sweet stuff.
We thought of them when we gave it a more powerful V8 than any top-selling Ford or Dodge pickup. We thought of them when we gave it a bigger extended cab than Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram. Maybe that's why Motor Trend thought of us. The new Chevy Silverado. It's the truck. The Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
You won't believe your mouth with this antacid.
That's amazing.
Dissolved almost immediately.
Like, it's gone.
Introducing Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables, a whole new kind of calcium antacid for heartburn.
It dissolves quickly when you put it in your mouth. Very quick.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables dissolve faster and more completely than Tums.
Didn't have to dig it out of my teeth. No grit. It's gone.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewable Tablets. Quick dissolve your heartburn away.
Quick dissolve. Maalox.
From 1 Minute Maalox.
The United States and Russia have agreed to begin a new round of negotiations on reducing nuclear arms next month in Moscow. The agreement was announced in Washington by Vice President Gore and Russia's new Prime Minister Sergei Stepashin. Their talks were aimed at smoothing U.S.-Russian relations following an angry rift over the NATO bombing of Yugoslavia. It's hard to forget the pictures of neglected orphans that emerged a few years ago with the collapse of communism in Romania. A few were rescued and adopted in the West, but after the revolution, most were left to fend for themselves. CBS's Mark Phillips, on assignment in Bucharest, ventured into the dark world of the street orphans of Romania.
Hanging around the street corners of the Romanian capital of Bucharest are some kids you may have met before, a long time ago, when they were young, but no less desperate. When they were discovered by the outside world as the rejected of Romanian society during the convulsions of its anti-communist revolution, abandoned by parents too miserable to care for them themselves, living in conditions sometimes too terrible to watch. The world took pity on them then, but then the world moved on. But the kids, those who survived, are still there, in their late teens and early 20s now, living in the streets, or worse, living beneath the streets, in the sewer and steam tunnels of Bucharest. It's estimated there are 4,000 of them, most addicted to the glue sniffing that alleviates hunger. Never Neverland was never like this.
The fact that they never grew up in a loving home, no matter how poor, they just were put out in the street and they stood there and said, well, what do we do now?
Susan Booth is an American from Connecticut who has adopted the kids' cause. A cause that becomes more desperate all the time because the children are having children of their own.
Well, it's warm down here, guys.
She's been delving to the depths of the world of the Romanian street kids, working along with Irishman Stephen Doyle, who shares her passion for these kids living at the bottom of the human food chain.
She's one of the gang leaders, one of the ringleaders. She's the big mother.
Some have formed a loose social structure with leaders and providers. Others have formed extended families, growing families. This girl, still in her teens, has had 4 children, 2 under 2 years old. 1 she's already sold. They live in an abandoned container and survive just.
The child was half frozen because it was lying in water and, you know, excrement and whatever.
And now she's had another child. They have children because they have no access to birth control or because they don't even know about it. Or they have children to give purpose to otherwise purposeless lives. Lily is due in a few weeks. Is this a baby that you wanted to have?
Yeah, I want to have.
You want to have the baby?
Yeah.
Why? You're living in a sewer. You've been here for 2.5 years, but you want to have the baby.
I like children.
Look in just about any junkyard in Bucharest, and you'll find them.
There's no place for a kid to get TB.
Look in just about any public place, and you'll find them. How any of them survive, given where they live and what they eat, seems to defy medical science. Do you eat every day?
No.
You don't eat every day?
No, every day.
How often do you eat?
I eat last night.
And your baby's due in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that enough food for a mother about to have a baby?
She's not enough.
Not enough. No. It's a society of children who have never really had a childhood, but who at the same time have never really grown up. A society of children who have never really had parents, who are now becoming parents themselves. This wheel of despair is taking one more turn. For the wretched street children of Romania, 2 dedicated souls are trying to bring a little hope into a world where there is none. On assignment in Bucharest, I'm Mark Phillips.
Coming up next, politics in America. Why this man took his New York Senate campaign to Arkansas.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is great. I'm going to wear this.
Suitable for today.
Yeah.
And in Arkansas.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from One a Day. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like tension and energy. One a Day. They're just what you need to feel your best.
3 things I always do before I barbecue ribs. Whip up my secret hot sauce, get the coals just right, and I always take a Pepsid AC.
Whatever's cooking, Pepsid AC can stop heartburn before it starts.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I have a question about buying stock. What's the difference between a market order and a limit order? Hello? Excuse me.
When you have an investment question, does your online brokerage have anybody there to answer it? We do.
I was born to be a cashier. I've been a cashier for 35 years. That's my office right over there. That's where I do all of my business. Good muscles working. I know most of my customers by name. Really, I do. Hi, Gabby. How have you been, Rico? Thanks, George. You don't have to stand in my line because I'm fast. For me, it's an easy job because I have so much fun doing it. Our goal here at Home Depot is to have the lowest prices in town. If you find an item in another store for a lower price, we'll meet and beat that price. Does that make you happy, ma'am?
Makes me extremely happy.
People deserve good prices because money is hard to come by.
When you were a kid, did you carry a lunchbox? Who was on it? Was it Sir Isaac Newton? Was it Abraham Lincoln? Or was it the A-Team? Introducing the new, redesigned 2000 Mitsubishi Montero Sport. We pity the fool who would drive anything else.
The White House today confirmed that President and Mrs. Clinton will vacation this summer in central New York State, where the First Lady is expected to run for a U.S. Senate seat. The mayor of New York City has his eyes on that same seat. As Diana Olick reports, the mayor flew today to Clinton territory to attack her carpetbag and fill his money bag.
Mayor, delighted to have you
Rudy
here.
Giuliani went for Hillary Clinton where she lives, at least where she used to live, the Arkansas governor's mansion.
It's a good opportunity to raise money.
And perhaps to play politics?
Oh, gosh, I would never do that. That's not in my personality to do anything like that.
The mayor may have aspired to the role of Southern gentleman, but he was all New Yorker on the David Letterman show last month, mocking his opponent's so-called carpetbagger candidacy.
I'm going to get off the airplane in Little Rock, and I'm going to say, I've never lived here. I've never worked here. I ain't never been here. But I think it'd be cool to be your senator.
He's telling Mrs. Clinton that he's going to be in her face and he's going to be the one who sets the agenda for this election, not her.
Even so, while the First Lady spent the day dealing in her husband's agenda,
we must take a responsible and balanced approach to tax cuts.
She didn't exactly ignore the other man in her life. Her supporters provided us with a column from 1964. The author, then Democrat Rudy Giuliani, defended Robert F. Kennedy's New York Senate aspirations. The carpetbagger issue, he wrote, is a truly ridiculous reason for not voting for a man in the year 1964. And so the street fighting begins, curiously with neither candidate anywhere near the streets of New York, and neither one even officially declaring to be in the fight. Diana Olick, CBS News, New York.
And that's the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather will be along later on tonight with a 60 Minutes 2 doubleheader beginning at 9, 8 Central Time. I'm John Roberts, CBS News in New York. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
No one knows what happened to Janet March. That hasn't stopped her parents from trying to place the blame on her husband, but something else could.
He's on trial for killing Nick Creason on school grounds in a Lincoln County courtroom today. We hear from the student who held Creason as he took his last breath.
So he just come through and didn't even stop, just plow through.
A train reaction.